A pretty lady complimented me, and 2 weeks later I'm still smiling about it.
Mundane but positive story. I, 23M, walked into a smoke shop a couple weeks ago, and the person I've always seen at the counter is this tall woman, probably in her late 30s to early 40s, IDK, I'm a horrible judge of age, with a thick Russian accent and blonde hair. I've always thought she was very pretty and sweet. Well, she comments on my hair, which I'm chopping off soon, it's annoying and past my shoulders lol, and says I look very pretty, but immediately goes like, no, but it is good. I like it very much. You look very good as a young man. Handsome. Yes, it's a good style for you. And it genuinely made my whole week. Or I suppose more because I still smile when I think about it. She might be the reason I haven't committed to cutting it yet. El Mao. I don't really have experience with getting compliments, so this was super cool. And I'll probably remember it when I'm 50 and figured I'd share.
I told my best friend of 10 years how I felt and to stop playing with my feelings.
I, 19M, and my best friend, 18F, have been friends since the 5th grade. I always had a crush on her, but I didn't think too much of it because we were young, and I believed it would fade over time. I couldn't have been more wrong. My feelings for her subsided after quarantine when the world went on lockdown and we lost contact. Fast forward to high school, we got back in touch, reconnected, and are still best friends. I told her I had a crush on her in middle school, and she said she used to like me as well. Over time, my feelings came back, and I found myself not only liking her, but in love with her. I once again told her that I still had feelings for her, and she changed the topic and completely ignored it. I took this as my sign that she didn't feel the same. I got into a relationship with one of my ex-partners, and she confessed that she has feelings for me. I told her this was super poor timing, and I was in a relationship, but she still flirted with me. The girl and I broke up, and I asked if she still had feelings for me, and she dropped the first bomb on me. She got into a relationship with some jerk who only wanted her for intercourse. I told her what I thought of the guy, and she agreed, but I guess she didn't really care. I started to give up and get into another relationship. I fell for this girl hard as well, so I thought my crush for her was over. She got out of her relationship and once again told me she had feelings for me, and they never went away. This cycle went on for 3 years until today. We're both single at the moment, and she would flirt with me or kiss me but try to hook me up with other females. I guess today I finally had enough and confronted her. I told her how she makes me confused and how I don't understand what we are, and she's playing with my feelings. She didn't have much of a reply except saying she didn't know I felt that way and that she loves me but doesn't know what type of love. I kind of gave up after hearing that and just said, okay. I'm not going to stop being her friend or anything, as I'm very close with her family, and her brother sees me as his brother, and we've been friends for almost 10 years. Still, I feel like I need some space from her to gather myself and figure out what our next conversation should look like. As of right now, she hasn't replied to my okay, so I assume she's crying or also just thinking, as she is very sensitive and soft.
Snake.
Last summer, went to a buddy's house to grill some food. He had put down some kind of net all over the front of his yard by the road to stop it from washing away in the rain. Well, I get there, and I see a huge snake tangled up in this net. I went to look. It was a rattlesnake. It looked about 5 or 6 feet long, and it wasn't happy. Its rattler was so loud. He had about 6 out 7 other people there, and everybody was like, kill it, and somebody grabbed a shovel. I was like, nah, fuck that. Somebody get some scissors. This lady came back with some scissors from the house, and a guy volunteered to get a stick and hold its head down while I cut it free. Everyone else was still saying we should kill it. But it's not the snake's fault. It was born dangerous and scary. It doesn't choose to be, it just is. And just because an animal has the power to kill you doesn't mean it wants to kill you for no reason. Except for kangaroos. They will put you in a headlock and drown you for no reason. The snake was really tangled up really badly. There's no possible way it could have gotten free on its own. The net was squeezing its body, getting up under its scales and pulling some of them off, etc. I was cutting the net away and it was hissing and thrashing around and rattling its tail, but after about 5-10 minutes, I think it started to realize I was helping it because it chilled out a lot. All in all, it took about 20 minutes to get it free. And as soon as I snipped the last bind, pew, it took off like a bolt of lightning. It was insanely fast. If it wanted to bite me, it most certainly could have before I could even react. But it chose not to.
I was cursed with a bisexual child.
Before you judge me, please hear me out first. My name is Katie, and I'm a mother of a 17-year-old boy named Carter. Carter has always been my darling angel, my baby boy, and I love him dearly. My husband, David, is also very kind, and we are a very happy family. The reason I have titled my story as such was because I wasn't always this way. Growing up, my parents, elder sister, and I were all part of a very conservative church. We were like some radical version of Christianity. This church was very cruel to anybody who didn't fit our standard of living and would verbally and sometimes physically target those outsiders in our small community. My mom and dad were very much in line with the church's view, and because I saw my parents do it, I was too. My elder sister, Rose, wasn't. She spoke up against my parents and the church multiple times and was ostracized from the church because of it. Our parents began to treat her harshly, and kids at school would bully her, including me. When it came out she was a lesbian, our parents totally disowned her and kicked her out. She ended up staying with one of her friends, another freak that the church didn't like. She had a single mom since her dad was a deadbeat, and the church always said to serve your husband. I would pick on Rose at school, despite being younger, but my sister never retaliated. I remember it would always peeve me off that she just ignored me. She would either just keep walking or shrug and change directions. I was a classic bully. I wanted a reaction. So, in a desperate attempt to get one, I targeted her very close friend, who turned out to be her girlfriend. She caught me in the act of verbally assaulted her and got between us. I'll never forget the words my sister said, "Mom and Dad got me because they acted like this. God is going to punish you for behaving like this. He'll give you a cursed or broken child so you can atone for your sins. Just you wait and see." Then she walked away, dragging her partner behind her. I never forgot those words. I was too stunned. I told my parents what she said when I got home, and they just prayed away whatever sinful aura my sister had piled onto my soul. I never really picked on Rose after that. Her and her girlfriend moved away and, from what I hear and see on social media, live a very fulfilling life. I ended up leaving the town for college and met my now husband. He was from a very different culture, but I adore him and he treats me right. When we got married, my parents went on a whole rant at the reception on how God will cleanse and everything our church preached. One of my husband's cousins, Willow, stood up to my parents and poked holes in all their preaching by reciting actual verses from the Bible. Her constantly showing the contradictions in my twisted version of faith made me start to realize how wrong some of our church's beliefs were. My parents demanded respect, and Willow told them, "You need to earn respect before you get it." It was so badass. She wore her hair in a shaggy pixie cut and was in a deep purple pantsuit. My parents began screeching, "She must be a devil," and she just laughed in their faces and said, "The only devils in here are you two freaks." My parents left shortly after. I apologized to Willow and all our guests for my parents' behavior, and Willow actually became really close with me. Turns out she's asexual and studied religion in college. She was literally the perfect opponent to humble my parents. A few months later, I got pregnant with Carter. I was so happy to be a mom, and my parents were so excited that one of us turned out right and did her duty in a woman. During my pregnancy, I begun to realize even more how toxic my parents were and how their views were backwards and wrong. I didn't want Carter growing up around that, so I began to distance myself from my parents. I got in contact with Rose and tried to make amends, but she said as long as I'm still in contact with our parents, she can't be in my life. So, I decided to give my parents an ultimatum. They leave the church, or I leave them. Long story short, I chose to cut them off. Carter was born healthy and surrounded by love. Rose and Willow are great friends, and Rose's girlfriend Julia also is the best baker I've ever met. David's family also love Carter and my sister, so it's like we never needed my parents anyway. Yesterday, Rose sent me a text that she was in town and was going to stop by. I told her that was okay, and I tidied up the house for her arrival. Willow and my in-laws also had stopped by, and everybody helped clean the house. When she finally got there, I saw that Julia had also came along and was carrying a cake. She needed to put it in the fridge, so I cleared a spot in the fridge for it. Everybody talked in the living room until Carter got home with his best friend, Angelo. Now, I had seen the way Carter looked at Angelo. It was the same way Rose looked at Julia in high school. I had a long-standing suspicion that the two were more than friends, but it was confirmed when Julia brought out the cake, gave it to Carter, and opened it up to me. The cake was blue, purple, and pink, and with white letters spelled, "Surprise, I'm bi." I was so happy for Carter, immediately yelling for David to go grab a knife, forks, and plates. Carter cut the cake and distributed it, and the whole mini-party seemed to be going well. Rose came and sat by me, eating a bite of cake before saying, "I told you so." I chuckled and ate a bite of my cake, very happy to be cursed with bisexual child.
Thank you for watching Reddit Stories. Please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. May you all have a blessed day.